Hey guys, welcome back to another craft break. I am a Plaid content creator here. My name is Bianca, and as always, we get together on Wednesdays to do fun Mod Podge projects together. This month is actually National Mod Podge Month, and I have a few of our formulas here in front of me that I wanted to go over before we jump into the project, and we'll also go over them again once we get done with the project, just so you guys can get familiar with a few of the formulas that we have. Also, the project is actually hanging up behind me that we're going to be making today, and it is a fun barbecue sign that you can use for your parties coming up this summer. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but like I said, let's go through the formulas that we have here in front of us real quick before we get into the project. So we're actually going to be using our fabric formula today for our project, but we also have the dishwasher safe formula here. This is really good for any projects that you need to set something wet on, maybe something like coasters, or maybe you're making plates or cups. We also have the outdoor formula here. This is really good, of course, for outdoor projects. And then we also have super gloss. So this adds a really high shine to any project that you'll be crafting. We also have extreme glitter. So these are just a few of our formulas that we have here. These are not Mod Podge, but I do want to mention these. We'll also be using these for the project that we'll be crafting today. These are two folk art matte colors, and I'm using wrought iron and winter white. So as we go through this project, if you have any questions about any of our Mod Podge formulas, just let us know and we will get them answered. So I'm going to go ahead and pull off the fabric formula because that is the one that we will be using, and we'll go ahead and get started. So like I said, if you guys saw behind me, we will be making this really fun barbecue sign. You can actually add anything that you want to it, but like I said, summer is right around the corner, and I thought that this would be a fun project to get ready for it. And also, we're going to be highlighting our 5-inch letters. So these are a really fun surface that we offer here at Plaid. You can go onto the website and purchase these. And we'll also talk a little bit more about these, but let's go ahead, let's jump into the project. Let's talk about the supplies. So to do this at home, you are going to need your 5-inch letters. I have some blank ones here. Of course, like I said, you're also going to need your fabric Mod Podge. You're going to need some poster board, and I have that here. You're also going to need a really fun pattern. So I found this one online. You can, of course, get creative and find your own. You want to make sure that it is barbecue related if you're going to go with the theme that we are doing here today. You're also going to need some fabric. So I have that here. You're going to need some scissors, a hole puncher, a ruler, a paintbrush, and a pencil. So we will go ahead and we'll get started with the first step. So I'm going to grab our poster board, and we are going to draw out a large triangle using a ruler and a pencil. So let's set our Mod Podge over to the side, and let's grab a ruler. So we want the triangle to be able to fit the size of our 5-inch letter. So we are going to start from the top of this paper here. And I'm going to leave our letter right in the middle so that we know how big our triangle needs to be. And I am going to draw a line along the ruler. So we're just going to come straight down. Let's tilt this in just a little bit. All right, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side of our V. So I'm just coming from the top corner of our paper here, and we're going to tilt our ruler in because when we draw this line, we want it to meet the other one at the bottom here. All right, so let's bring those two lines in together. And then we will have our first triangle. All right, so We have our triangle drawn out here, and then you're going to grab your scissors and you're going to cut it out. I've already gone ahead and drawn one and cut it out, so I'm going to go ahead and set this to the side. I just want to show you guys how you can easily create your triangle. And you're going to repeat this step as many times as you need to for however many letters you'll be using for your project. So I'm going to start with our first one, and it should look something like this. And then we are going to grab some fabric in our fabric Mod Podge. We're also going to grab our paintbrush. So let's get a little bit of our Mod Podge out. So this formula is actually a lot thicker than our other formulas. So as you scoop it out, you'll notice that the consistency is a little bit different from our other formulas. So you might have to scoop it out versus pouring it out. Alrighty, that should be enough to start with. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to coat our cut triangle with a layer of the Mod Podge. And I usually say to do a light coat, but we're going to do a medium to heavy coat because this is fabric and it's a little bit heavier than writing paper or copy paper, and we want to make sure that this sticks on. So we'll add one coat and then we'll go back over it with another one. Alright, so that is coat number one. Like I said, we'll go back over it with another one. We always love to hear where you guys are watching from. So if you guys could tell us where you are, we would love to hear that. All right, so we have two coats of our Mod Podge. We're gonna grab our fabric. This is a really lightweight fabric. This is cotton. For this project, I would not suggest using anything that's too heavy. I would definitely go with something that is light because this will hang and we don't want to add too much weight to it. So I'm going to lay this directly over top of the triangle. I'm just going to use my fingers to smooth it out. And this clings on pretty quickly, so you can move on to the next step of this project without having to sit and let this dry for about 10 to 20 minutes. You can actually move right on to the next step. Just make sure it's good and press down. So let's go ahead and flip this over. We'll press it down again. And that is on there. Let's add a little bit more towards the bottom here. All right. So we're going to grab our scissors and we're going to cut the fabric to the size of our triangle. So let's go ahead and let's do that. All right. So we're just going to go along the edges. We're going to trim this up. Then we'll flip it over and we'll see how it looks. If it needs to be trimmed up a little bit more, we'll go back around it. All right. And if your poster board is curling up while you're creating this project, once you move on to the other triangles that you'll be cutting and covering with the fabric, you can set a book on top of it or something heavy to flatten it out. All right, so we have our fabric cut. Let's turn it over. Let's look at it. So we have a few rough edges, so we'll just go around and we'll clean those up just a little bit. And then after this step, we're going to grab our hole puncher And we're gonna add 2 holes at the top of this triangle. And that will be where the string that our banner will hang from goes through. So let's trim up the top just a little bit. All right, so we have our first triangle for this project. I'm gonna grab the hole puncher and I'm gonna add a hole here, and I'm also going to add a hole there. So we have hole number 1. Let's go ahead and add a second one. All right, so this is the first triangle for our banner. Like I said, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna repeat this step as many times as needed. So I've already gone ahead and I have cut our other ones. So we have all 3 here, so let's go ahead and add some holes to these. All right. All right, so we have all of the holes in our triangles. I'm gonna go ahead and set these off to the side. We're gonna move on to the next step for this project. You're going to cut another one of your poster board triangles, and this time we are going to create an additional one, but this one will not be for our letters to go on. This will just be a decorative triangle to add to the end of your banner on both sides. So for this step, we are going to grab our pattern that we found online here. And we're gonna lay it on top of the triangle. So let's first cut off all of the excess paper here. And then we're gonna grab a little bit more of our outdoor Mod Podge. And we're gonna add a layer here. So for this step, because this is paper, I'm gonna add a light coat of this. There's no need to switch over to a different formula. This will grab. Do I need to say we're back or just keep going?
Just say sorry we had.
Okay. All right. Sorry guys, we went out for a second, but we are back. So a second ago, we were starting on the top of our banner. And again, I am using our outdoor formula. And we're gonna switch back to doing a medium coat instead of a light coat of the Mod Podge. This is the part of the triangle where we will be adding the fabric on. And if you didn't catch what I said earlier, the fabric is a little bit heavier than the paper. So we do want to add a little bit more of the Mod Podge just to make sure that it sticks on. All right, so we're gonna grab our strip of fabric. Let's trim this up just a little bit more so that we have as straight of a line as possible. Alrighty. And now we're gonna lay it across the top here. And we're gonna do the same thing that we did with the paper. We are gonna trim it to the size of our triangle. And then we'll grab our hole puncher again and we'll add some holes to the top of it. So I'm just gonna go across the edges with my scissors. All right. So super quick, super easy, super simple. We're gonna grab the hole puncher. We're gonna add a hole here. And we're also going to add a hole over here. And we are done. Let's actually go ahead and add 2 to this one as well. All right, so we are now going to go ahead and move on to our next step for this project. And that is to paint your letters whatever color you would like to. So these are our 5-inch letters here. And before you paint them, they actually come like this. So it is a raw wood surface. I'll flip it over so that you guys can see the back. So both sides are raw. You can get creative with this part of the project. You can cover your letters with scrapbook paper and Mod Podge, or you can paint them like I've done here. And the colors that I chose were our folk art matte colors, and I used winter white and wrought iron. So what we are going to do with these is grab some more of our Mod Podge, and we're going to grab the first triangles that we made, the first 3. We're going to add some of that Mod Podge to the back of those letters, and we're going to sit them on top of these triangles, and then you're going to let this dry. So let's go ahead and let's do that. So let's lay these out. We'll scoop out a little bit more of our Mod Podge. And like I said earlier, you definitely do not have to go with this theme for this project. Maybe you have a birthday party coming up or some type of special celebration. You want to spell out a different word. You can definitely go for it. I think food like hot dogs and ribs was just on my mind when I was thinking of this project. So that's what I went with. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add some of this Mod Podge onto the back of these letters. Like I said, this formula is really thick. It's a lot thicker than our others. And so the good thing about that is it holds a little bit more weight. So once this dries fully, our letters will have a good grip onto our triangles here. So we're going to add a pretty good coat on these. And you want to let these dry maybe about an hour or a little bit more. I probably even let it sit overnight before it's ready to use. All right, so we have our first letter coated. I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to stick it right on here. Mod Podge always dries clear, so if you have any excess glue that is coming from up under your letters, you don't have to worry about it. It's not going to look like that when it dries. But if it is bugging you, you can grab a Q-tip and you can kind of go around and clean up the edges there. So we're going to repeat this 2 more times, and then we're pretty much done with this project. The last step after this is to grab a piece of twine, which I have here. And you're going to cut it and you're going to string all of the triangles that we just made together onto it, and then you are going to hang your banner. So let us know if you guys have any questions about the project that we are doing here. Let us know if you have any questions about the formulas that I showed you guys when we first started, or if you have any questions about Mod Podge in general. All right, so again, I'm just adding our 5-inch letter right onto the top of our triangle, and then we will end with our Q. All right, so this is a really easy and a fairly quick project, depending on how long your phrase is that you're going to be spelling out. Super easy. I don't think you have to be an expert crafter to do something like this. It's also really fun. So I think kids and adults can do something like this together. All right. So we're gonna lay this directly on top. We'll let it sit for a second. And then, like I said, the last step for this project is to grab some twine. And you're gonna cut it to the length of the phrase that you'll be spelling out, or however long your banner will end up being. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna clip it right there, and we will start to string on all of our triangles. So I'll grab the decorative one that we made first, and I will string it through. We'll even go ahead and we'll start to lay on or string on the ones with the letters on them. We won't move it around too much because it is still drying. And then we will come back out to a full shot so that you guys can see the finished one that is hanging behind me. And if I need to move my head a little bit, just let me know. And then we also have some other projects that are completed behind me that have some of our letters on them, so that you guys can have some extra inspiration. Uh-oh, I was about to spell BQB. Let's put the B on next, not the Q. All right, so let's string it in here, pull it through. All right, 2 more, and then our project is complete. Go in this way. All right. All right, so we have 1 more. All righty. And this project is complete, guys. All right, let's move some of this stuff out of the way and I'll string it across the table for you guys. Try to fit in as much as we can. But this is what it should look like if you're gonna follow this theme when you finish. If not, it should look a little similar to this. But this is our final project. And like I said, once you glue your letters on, you wanna maybe let it sit for about an hour or so, but before you actually use the banner, I would probably let this sit overnight before you hang it up. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna show you the one that is actually behind me that is already hanging up. So this is what your banner should look like when you finish and once you hang it up. Let's see if you guys can also see one of the plaques behind me. That is just another idea and some extra inspiration. For our letters, they do come in bigger sizes. Again, today we used our 5-inch letters. If you guys have any questions about the formulas that I showed earlier or the one that we just used, you can let us know and we can answer those before we get out of here. But if you guys don't have any questions, thank you for joining us. Like I said, it is Mod Podge month. It is Mod Podge's 56th birthday. And up until next week on Thursday, which is National Mod Podge Day, we will be releasing really fun videos and I will actually be setting up Glossy's birthday party. So if you want to see all of the fun crafts that I will be creating, you can follow us, of course, on Instagram, and you can also follow Glossy at Mod Podge Crafts. If you guys want to recreate this project at home that we made together, you can use hashtag Plaid Crafts so that we can see it and thumbs up it. We hope you guys had fun, and we will see you back next week for another Mod Podge project.